Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stronger Roots. I want to welcome our guest, Shawn. I met her on TikTok, and Beth is going to do a little introduction and
Yeah,
talk.
yeah, we're glad to have you. We're so excited to have you today. So let me tell you a little bit about Shawn. She's an MBA. She's a life coach, a speaker, and founder of PhoenixPath Coaching. Drawing from both her professional expertise and her own journey through narcissistic abuse and parental alienation, she empowers men and women to reclaim their voice, rebuild their confidence, and create lives rooted in strength and authenticity. Thank you for coming. I am so excited to have you on today. I feel like there's so much that you're going to be able to give our viewers and guide them on.
You, Beth,
Yes,
and thank you, Danielle. I sure hope so, and it's a pleasure to be here.
yes. Thank you so much. I think we get so much of our information from social media and reading and all of that. And I started watching your videos, and I was really taken back by and just emotional by what you've been through. And can you kind of talk about like what your path, your journeys kind of look like through this whole thing? Like explain what has happened to you.
Oh gosh. Well, I was married to a very abusive, narcissistic man, and people don't understand there's different levels of narcissism. He's a malignant, which means he took pleasure in my pain. He wanted to hurt me. Uh, I didn't know for a long time what he was doing, but over 25 years, he alienated me. He broke me into a stuttering alcoholic, basically, who was just unable to defend herself and fight for any type of self respect. He just took it away. And during that time, he managed to convince my children, not convince, but brainwash would be a better word, that their mother was dysfunctional, alcoholic, mentally unstable, knowing that he had caused all this. It was a journey through hell. It's the only way that I could describe it. I would rather him have beaten me, and he said he would. He stood in front of me and said, I wish we lived in a different country so I could beat you. So he would have done that too. I wish he'd beaten me though, rather than mess with my mind and take my children from me. He's damaged them beyond repair. I don't know how they will ever come out of it. And I hate to say that because I'm a very positive person, but my God, when you instill that in a child, I don't know how they're ever going to overcome such a thing. But I got out by the grace of God, 3 suicides, 3 suicide attempts. One, I was on a respirator, in which he held me in contempt of court because I'm a real estate agent and the house wasn't on the market. I was on a respirator. So he took me back to court to hold me in contempt of court. And you know what my oldest daughter said to me? Well, Dad's taking you back because you did something stupid.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
suicide attempt was something stupid.
Wow.
It wasn't a result of the abuse that I went through and all the things that I endured with this man. It was because I was stupid. That's the
Mm.
kind of thing you deal with. And you're living in this world where the reality is so stark. It's like being in the twilight zone and you're looking at it going, how can this be happening? You know exactly what I'm saying. And it's so abnormal, and yet everybody walks around as if this is normal behavior to treat your wife and the mother of your children and your own mom as if she is a punching bag.
Right.
I liken it to say, I'm on the ground bleeding, and my ex-husband said, hey, kids, join in, and they started kicking too, and blood spilling out. Isn't this fun? Let's just beat mom to hell and back.
Mm.
And that's what it feels like when you've lived in something like that. I remember telling my therapist I felt like it was 5 against 1 in that household. She said, because it was. It
Mhm.
was. And it's still 5 against 1. They move in a pack. If one, they follow him, he's their God, and they move in a pack. And you're always the scapegoat. You're always wrong. Even when you have proof, you're still always wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a channel, you know that. I talk about narcissism all day long. I have offered to pay for my children to go to counseling. They refuse to go. Why? Because they don't want to face the truth.
Mhm.
It's very painful for them to admit I was part of the abuse too. And yeah, you were. You were. I'm sorry, but you were. I know you were children, and I have obviously I'm a mom, so I want to forgive and forget, but I've forgiven and forgotten so many times, and yet you continue to throw me under the bus. At some point, I get it. I can't continue to put myself in the way of a Mack truck and have you run over me every single time. At some point, I have to go throw my hands up and go, I'm done. I'm walking away. And
Mhm.
that's really hard for a mom. It's really hard for a mom because we're taught we're supposed to be martyrs. Well, we're not supposed to be martyrs, especially not to adult children. So my story is one of survival, and it's one of wanting to share with other men and women how to survive, because you can't change it. You can't change what's happened, and you can't change who they are and what direction they're going to go in with their lives. They have to make their own choices. Our job is to survive and thrive.
Mhm. Yeah. Shawn, how old were your children when all of this was happening? Like, could you, now looking back, could you see like the red flags that like something was changing? Because I think that alienation just doesn't happen right when the divorce happens. There's alienating behaviors beforehand. Did you
Yes.
notice that too in your case?
I did, but you never, and I'll tell you what I noticed, but I'll say this first. Although I was witnessing it, you never think that your significant other's goal is 2 miles up the road, which is to bury your ass under can I cuss?
Oh yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Under
Yeah.
the fucking pavement. I didn't realize that was his goal. I just thought, why is he countering me? Why is he, I could hear him talk, sometimes I'd catch him hearing, for example, we had a big home, 10,000 square foot house. I had walked out to leave to go run an errand, and I forgot something. And as I'm walking back in down the long hallway, I hear my youngest son say to my ex-husband, at the time, my husband, every time your wife leaves is not a chance to diss on your wife. Diss on your wife? My husband is talking badly about me to my children? Here's another example. My oldest son, we were always butting heads when he became a teenager. Always, always, always. And I couldn't figure out why. Now, part of it was when I would ground my kids for doing something wrong, legitimately, like they tell me they're going to spend the night at someone's house, normal teenage stuff. And I look on Life 360, and at 4 a.m, they're driving around. Okay, well, guess what? You're in trouble. Okay, I'm a mom. You're going to be in trouble. I'm a parent. My ex-husband would say things like, oh, it's fine. You don't have to listen to your mom. You're not grounded. You can go out. He was always undermining me. But I
Yes.
still wasn't understanding. Then years later, after he got caught on the dating apps, found out from my oldest son. Again, remember, when he was a teenager, we were always like this. And I'll get into more of that in a minute, because they think it's okay to put their hands on you too. When these boys, when they've been taught by their father, they think it's okay to throw you around and hurt you. And that's not okay either. I found out years later, he had seen dating apps on my ex-husband's phone and asked him, why are these on your phone? And my ex-husband told him, I'm on there looking for your mother. For 2 years, this kid thought I was cheating on him and on dating apps, cheating on his dad and on dating apps, and that my ex-husband was looking for me on the dating apps. Yet I'm home every day. He's traveling. When am I going to cheat? I'm making home. I'm at home making dinner. I'm running to Costco. I'm cleaning the house. I'm running, doing whatever for school. How in the world would I have ever had time to cheat on him? And why would I have done that? He's the one traveling every other week, always gone. So these are the kind of things that they do behind your back. You have no idea. You have no idea that these seeds have been being planted for years because you didn't know their agenda. You didn't know that someone like this could actually do this to somebody that they supposed to have loved and was married to and is the father or mother of their children. You don't even go there. Your mind doesn't even go there. And when you see that that's the reality of the situation, and you see that this person actually did that to you, it is betrayal trauma is the number one worst trauma. The number one worst trauma you can go to. It's worse than the death of a child. It's worse than the death of your parents. It's worse than anything you can go through to have someone that you thought loved and cared about you have been undermining you for years and took pleasure out of doing it and takes pleasure out of your downfall. That's a sick human being. And it changes everything because your whole reality is like, well, I didn't see this in this person. And there are people like this that actually exist. How do I navigate this world anymore? It turns everything upside down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were talking, excuse me, in one of the podcasts before. I'm not sure if you ever went through EMDR therapy, but they talk about like the small T, the big T. And I said that going through narcissistic abuse or parental alienation or estrangement was like an E. It's like an evil, that some people aren't able to grasp exactly how that dismantles everything in yourself. I mean, it absolutely annihilates you to a point of some people don't even can't even comprehend that. You know, it's like it's a league of its own kind of thing.
No, it completely changes the way you think about things, the way you see things,
Right.
how you respond to things, and it's years. I mean, my experience was over 38, 39 years ago, but still,
Hmm.
it's still, there's still things there. There's still things in the back of your mind. It just, it's crazy
It
what it
doesn't
does to
go
your
away.
head.
That kind of trauma, it doesn't go
No.
away. You get a toolbox. I call it the toolbox, and you learn these tools to help with the trauma. All you're doing is managing that trauma. It doesn't go away. It never goes
Mhm.
away.
Yeah.
And Danielle, you talked too about trying to get people to understand this. I always say it's hard enough to understand it when you've been through it.
Right.
If you've never been through it, you can't understand it. It's like,
Mhm.
I always say things is that here's an analogy. You're a professor and you talk about World War II and you spend a lot of time talking about World War II and you preach on it all day long, but you didn't storm Normandy. You didn't smell the dead bodies. You weren't in the sand. You weren't tasting death. You can talk about it, but you didn't experience it. And there's people out there talking about narcissism, and that's one of the things that irritate me that have never been through it. You need to shut up. You
Right.
need to shut up because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah, thinking back, Shawn, in the earlier moments of when you started to discover, like, I feel like it's almost like Sleeping Beauty or waking up, and there's like a fog that lifts, and then you see what has happened, but you don't like it. It's like cognitive dissonance, right? Like you see it, but then your brain is telling you another thing, and you're just walking that tightrope of, is this real? Could this be happening? And what were some of the biggest emotions that you were dealing with in the beginning? What was that like? I mean,
Well, that beginning stage for all of us is the same. We blame ourselves. Our brain looks at that and goes, that's not possible.
yeah.
That's not possible
Mhm.
that someone could do this and love me and say they love me. So our brain automatically goes, well, it must be me. I must have done something to cause this. Because it's the only way I can fix it because I can't fix this. So I need to make sure this never happens again. So it's got to be me. So that's why all survivors blame themselves. We all feel responsible. We all feel as if there was something we could have done or something we did to cause it. And that's where the suicides come in. And that's where the alcohol and the drugs and the sex and whatever comes in to stop that, because you're blaming yourself and you need that kind of buffer to phase out. So that's the first stage. It's so unbelievable that you turn it on yourself. And then once you turn it on yourself, you start to realize, why am I hurting myself? Why am I hurting myself? If you've got some good counselors and some good coaches, you realize that's what they want. The more I hurt myself, the more I ended up in rehab or, had another suicide attempt, the more ammunition I was giving him to say, look at this pathetic person. And think about that for a minute too. Someone who loves you, they would never do that to you. My husband should have been there to say, I don't want you to be labeled an alcoholic. I don't want you to be labeled crazy. I don't want our children to not love their mother. I want to help you. Instead, he did everything possible to throw me under the bus and to
Mhm.
teach my children to throw me under the bus. Then you move into the acceptance stage and you say, wow, this is the reality. This is what happened. Is as unbelievable as it is, this is reality. This man is a monster, an evil monster, or woman is an evil monster. My kids chose. The way I look at it like this. So my son went around for years knowing, he knows that I was not on dating apps. He knows these things, but yet they deny reality. They all deny reality.
Mhm.
You can't fix it. So you have to move into acceptance. And that's a difficult stage to realize, I'm never going to have a relationship with my children ever, ever,
Mhm.
that is normal, much less maybe not even have one. At this point, I think when you get to this point, at least for me, where I see my adult children making choices that they're no longer under his control. They know what they're doing. They've known what they've been doing for years. They do it for comfort, status, because they don't want to face the truth, whatever. They have their own reasons. They've made a choice. And at this point, they're not little. So you made your choice. Now you're going to have to live with it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that really is always been a question for me is like, why defend him?
Because
It's
it
your mom,
protects them. Right.
you know?
Because it protects them. Because look at it like this. My ex-husband bought another house 10 minutes up the street from the very beautiful area that we lived in. We lived in Milton, Alpharetta. Bought another house up there. So it's a status for them. Plucked me out, plucked her in. They've been together pretty much ever since we've been divorced. So so now they've got this safe looking family unit. Well, this person over here is too messy to deal with. Dad broke her. Oh, well, we're grown now. We don't need her. Thanks, Mom, for helping us all to be doctors and attorneys and whatever. Thanks for, raising us, but we don't need you anymore. He's our God now. He's our protector. We roll our universe around him. And they know that if they disappoint him, there's going to be consequences. And it's too messy to turn around and go, oh, we really hurt our mom and we abuse the shit out of her too. And we need to own up to that. It's just easier to ignore her and keep her out of, and just keep playing this little game of new family, new house, dad's status, whatever. It's just easier for them. It's a choice. You and I, we would never make that choice. Beth and Danielle, we're not wired like that. We would be like, excuse me, fuck you, Mom.
Yeah,
I'm
we
going to
would.
go to my mom. Fuck all of y'all. I'm going to go take care of my mama. That's how we were. That's how we are. My mom was a severe narcissist and I still would have done it. I still had her back. I held her hand the day she died. I love my mama, despite the fact that she was a narcissist. Hence, I ended up with my demonic narcissist, my ex-husband. But these kids know they made the choices. Beth, you wouldn't have made it. Danielle, you wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. We would never do that. We're not the same. I remember when I came out of rehab for the second time, my oldest daughter picked me up and I remember saying to her, why don't you try putting yourself in my shoes for a minute? And she looked at me and she said, I would never be you. And you know what? I thought about it. She's right. She will never be me, ever, because I never would do what she did, ever. And it's time we start telling the truth about our kids. Too bad. You don't want to hear it? Oh, well. You want to send, if daddy comes across the video and sends it across to all of my children, like Danielle, what happened with you? So be it. It is the truth.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to back down from the truth. We shouldn't back down from the truth. We shouldn't sugarcoat it just because we're moms and we're supposed to be martyrs and all forgiving. Who brought that up? I'm sorry, I'm not. I got to protect myself because when I played that role for 25 years and it almost killed me. So I'm not going to do that anymore. Now I'm going to stand in my own truth and I'm going to protect myself.
Yeah, I think it's a bad wiring system that has happened in the family dynamics where we protect and we want to shield our kids. Therefore, we dance around on eggshells, so to speak, and we don't want to upset anybody. And so when we leave these types of relationships, there's a whole it's blown, the destruction is endless of how we move through the world. But our children are often still in that old frame of mind where, they're still believing whatever dad says or mom says or whatever. And it's just a really messed up family dynamic. And I don't know that.
Danielle, I don't want to interrupt, but I want to point out something.
Yeah,
They
sure.
are choosing it as adults.
Yeah,
I've offered
you're
to pay
right.
for counseling.
Mhm.
I've offered to go, I've offered to stay away, I've offered to pay, but for a good counselor, not, not like my younger daughter was seeing some high school counselor who's probably just graduated high school. I think she was 23. You can't go to somebody or 24. Like you need to go. I'm happy to pay. They refuse.
Mhm.
Danielle, they
That's a
refuse because
choice,
they
right?
know, right? They know the truth. They want to deny the truth because it's going to change their whole made up reality and they don't want to face that. That's a choice.
Mhm.
That's true.
You're right. And
You're
I
right.
do think that there comes a time, where you have to face reality and you say, okay, this child's still a minor kid and they may live with the person or they may not live, whatever the family dynamic is. But you still kind of have that moment, like maybe when they turn 18, that they will see the light. But then you also have to be realistic in the fact of these are grown children. And if they choose to believe that, their mother is a piece of shit or their father is a piece of shit, whatever it is, I mean, that's their own decision. And at some point, you have to kind of say, you're not willing to look at reality, and I can't live in the fantasy land. So I don't know where that leads both of us. I really cannot be um, in a relationship with someone who is unable to see the damages that were caused by this person. I can't fake it anymore. I've been through so much that it doesn't even make sense for me to put myself in harm's way again. You know what
Well,
I
and I
mean?
want you to think about that too.
Yeah.
A child who loves their mother, they don't even love you. I'm gonna tell you now, they don't love you. They've learned what love is, and it's not love. And they learned it from your ex because they know this. They wouldn't want to put you in harm. They wouldn't want to disrupt your mental. I mean, I think about this often. Your mom had 3 suicide attempts and was put in rehab, and yet you alienate her. You're not worried she's going to kill herself again. You're not worried about her mental health. See, we have to protect our mental health. And if that means I don't have anything to do with them, then that's the way it's going to go. And that's the way it's going to go because I'm no longer going to be putting myself in situations that will affect my mental health. If they cared 1 ounce about me, they wouldn't do it. They don't love you. They
Mm.
don't love you. They don't, because their idea of love has been so skewed, healthy love has been so skewed by them. That's why they do what they do. I'm not saying your kids are narcissists, although some of them might be because they were raised in a narcissistic family. They might all be. I don't know. But they don't understand love, true love, because they've never seen it between you and your spouse, your ex. They didn't see it between dad and child, and you were so damn broken most of the time that they didn't really get it from you. And that's the honest to God truth. And it really sucks. And I hate that. But I'm willing to give it now. They don't want it. It's easier to align with him than it is to come and align with me because it's going to be very painful. And they don't want to do that. They don't want to grow. That's on them. That's a choice for them. We're all here because we grew. We don't have to be doing this. We could be doing 1,000 other things than doing this right now in this moment, trying to help other people and heal. We have choices too. And we're continuing to make good choices. They're continuing to make bad choices.
Mm. Shawn, what got you to this point? I mean, because I admire your journey and how, you are so determined and you've gotten to like, you can tell that you've done the work, right? Like you've been to counseling and you've been, I'm so amazed with how you have just got this like protective gear and you're like, hey, listen, this is it. I know this for a fact. And so many women, I think that have been through this type of abuse continue for a long time to uh, maybe self-blame, discredit what they've been through. What really like propelled you to get to a place where you were like, this is, these are my kids, but I am not having this relationship and like, I love how powerful, like you can tell that you've
It's the
taken
confidence and the strength that shows
right,
through.
right.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I feel
It's a
like
lot of growth.
you've taken back your power as a woman and you
I have.
reclaimed yourself. And I really admire given, that you had such all of this big trauma that you went through, like what was your turning point that you got to a point where you were just like, this is not gonna happen.
Because I started trusting myself again. I
Mm.
started trusting reality. See, they teach you to deny reality. I used to say to my ex-husband, the sky is blue and you keep telling me it's orange. And one day I decided, you know what? What if I just go with my reality? What if I start trusting myself again? Because they teach you not to trust your instincts. They teach you you're always wrong. They teach you everything you say is incorrect. And I thought, what if I just start trusting myself again? And I did. And things started changing. I said, no, 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 no. This is a boundary. For example, after my mom passed, my oldest son came to me, tears in his eyes, and he says, as you know, I'm getting married. I really want you at my wedding. I want our son mother dance. And I said to him, I said, my only hesitation in not coming. And he kind of sat up and looked at me like, whoa. And I thought 2 things in the moment. One, your act didn't work. It reminded me of his father. And 2, you thought it worked so well that I was going to be, oh, I'll be there. Huh. No, 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 no. I'm not going to just show up. This is what I said. I said, I want to be there, but I'm not going to walk into a room where everybody thinks I'm an alcoholic and I'm crazy. I want you to set the record straight with my future daughter-in-law and her parents. I'm not asking you to confront your father. I'm not asking you to make some big statement. I just wanted the record set straight that that's not true. He said, okay. About a month later, I found out that my future in-laws are having had an engagement party and I wasn't invited. Precisely what I predicted. Why? Because my future in-laws and my ex-husband and his fiance, they're friends. So again, I get pushed out. My son knew exactly what that was going to do. He knew exactly how that was going to feel, and he knew exactly why I wasn't being invited. So when I said something to him about it, which is a boundary, I'm not going to come to a place where people are basically talking about me and you would think that a son would want to protect his mom. A normal, healthy son would say, whoa, mom, you're right. I don't want you coming into a situation like that. Let me go correct this. Instead, he doubled down, said that I gave him an ultimatum, and now I'm not invited to the wedding. So when I started trusting, so I knew that moment, just trust your gut. I knew when he did that, I said, bam, bullseye. This is what's going on here. Called it out. Sure enough, I've been proven correctly. And what do? They double down even when you have proof. Trust your instinct. The best thing I can say, women, we as women, we have our own women's instinct. And it has been stuffed down by this sickness from our children and our ex-husbands. Trust your gut. Just go with it. We've tried everything else. When I started trusting my gut and going with my gut, everything changed. Everything changed. Do I get a lot of pushback sometimes? Yeah. Do I care? No, because I'm really strong enough to take it. I'm strong enough. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about me now. The worst has already been said. You can take whatever you want from me. It's already been taken. My home, my family, my security, my self-respect. It's already been taken. So come at me. What do I got to lose now? I'm just
that attitude right there. That's what's lacking in so many women. So many people that we encounter. And I remember one time Danielle knows where I'm going with it. And I remember one time and I said, I am waiting for the day when you dig down deep and find that inner bench and unleash her.
Yeah.
And right. I have dug down deep. I found the inner bitch. Come at me.
And that's where she's at now. And it's like, it took a long time for me to get there. A long time. I mean,
it does. It takes
years. Another marriage, more kids, and and then finally, somewhere in the midst of that, it just all kind of blew up. But it still kind of hangs at counseling, everything. But it's like when you finally get to that point, that is so liberating. When you don't care what anybody else thinks, and I say that you don't care, but in a way, there is some kind of a care there to some degree. But as far as people judging you and people, well, why do you? No, I don't care. I don't care. This is who I am. This is
what are you going to say that hasn't already been
said? You're not going to do
said?
that to me anymore.
Right. I mean, what are you going to do to me that hasn't already been done? I've been put in 3 mental institutions. I've been in 2 rehabs. I've gone through the court system. I was brought down to reckless driving. Again, I mean, what are you going to do to me now that hasn't already been done? What? So now I'm going to speak the truth. Okay, I'm going to tell it like it is. This is the truth. I mean, I could tell story after story after story after story, and one day I probably will write a book. I don't know who wants to read it, but I'm going to write it for my own satisfaction. And I'm going to put real names in it. He's going to love that one.
Right.
So, it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. You messed with me, motherfucker. Now you're going to get to what you got. Now you created this. So here you go.
Yeah.
I could have been a stay-at-home mom. I was happy in my role. I loved you. I loved my kids. But you know what? You decided that wasn't the path, and Spirit had a different path for me. So here we go.
Right.
For all of us on this call, all of us and everybody listening, there's a different path than what we thought, and it's a better path. I like who I am today way better than the groveling, crying woman who started drinking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whose husband was traveling and bringing her home chlamydia. That was fun. Oh, I'd much rather be this woman.
Yeah. And I think one thing that, if I were to rewind a little bit and say, those who know you. And so whatever's been said about you or whatever, you know who you are. And those who love you and care about you, actually care about you and love you, know who you are too, and know that you're not capable of the things that you're accused of. And I think that that's such a reassurance when you go through something like this, that you get to see who your circle is. You get to see who believes in you, who has seen it for themselves. And so you it's almost like, like the trash takes themselves out, the people that aren't meant to be in your life go away. And the people who do, stay there. And even like the naysayers, the people who are like, oh my God, like so many people, like, I thought you guys were so happy. And I think that there was, people, that doubt your story. Like there's just no way that, this could
Well, because
happen.
they put on a good show.
Right. Well, and I think that,
They put on such a good show. Oh, he can
yeah.
never be like that, or he can never treat. And they put on that good show to ramp all that up so that when everything starts hitting the fan, you're the problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Beth, and that's true in the short term. But in the long term, it's really hard to prove I'm an alcoholic. I went to law school. I've got a coaching business. It's really hard to prove I'm crazy. So in the long term, as he's continuing to rack up debt, he's the alcoholic, funny enough. He's lost his jobs. He's struggling. So in the long term, it doesn't hold water. It just doesn't hold water. Danielle, you're not a bad mother. Beth, you're not a bad mom. You wouldn't be doing this if you were. We're not out here to attack our kids or that's insanity. We're out here trying to help other women who have experienced what we've experienced, and we've all experienced the same thing. So that tells us that it's not us. Okay. And then also I want to back up, Danielle, to what you talked about, the people fall away. I do want to say this, for me personally, and for a lot of the women that I've coached, and I know there are exceptions, but we've been so alienated that we didn't have friends that stood by us or really knew us. When people fell away, we were alone. I was alone. I'm still alone. I'm very particular about friends. I'm very particular. I don't date very much. I'm very particular about who I let into my space. Um, and much of that was due to isolation because of what I went through, and a lot of it is now self-imposed because I refuse to allow anybody into my space or my mental clarity or space that is not healthy. I refuse, because my first priority is me. And that might sound really selfish, but the way I look at it is this: that little girl Shawn and me, and that little girl Beth, and that little girl Danielle, we need to protect her. We need to protect her. And you know what? I'm her best advocate, and Beth, you're her best advocate, and Danielle, you're her best advocate. And our job is to protect her. And we are fierce protectors. That's what made us good mamas. So shame on our children. I will have that little girl Shawn's back until the day I die. Nobody's going to mess with her again, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it.
What, you know, there's, when you hear, that you're not talking to your kids, or your kids don't want anything to do with you, what do you think is like the biggest misconceptions that you want others to know? Like, say you're at the grocery store, or somebody knows you, a friend, looking from the outside, and they're like, gosh, that's so weird. Like, she doesn't have anything to do with her kids, or her kids don't want to talk to her. What would you say to that? I mean,
I will first, that
yeah,
person I wouldn't even talk to.
yeah,
That
same.
person, I'll be honest. If they're like, that's so weird. Okay. There's a difference between and not making fun of you, but there are women like, "You're not
Yeah.
so weird.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Shut
totally.
up, go away, ping." If there's a difference between that and someone who says, gosh, that's got to be very painful. I'm sorry. First, they identify, they hear you. That's got to be very painful. And I'm super sorry. That means they want to hear what you have to say, and they can identify, they have empathy. That person I'll talk to. They're not going to completely understand it, but they can empathize. The person that goes, oh my gosh, that's so weird. You don't ever talk to your cats. Oh my God, please go away. Like, don't even talk to those people. Okay. What you say though is this: anybody that can empathize with you, say yes. It's very difficult. It's called parental alienation. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's very painful, but it's a fact of life. And unfortunately, your adult children make their own choices. And if they choose to side with one particular parent against you, there's really nothing you can do about it. That's the truth.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
You have to get into any detail.
yeah. How have you been able to deal with the grief? Because you have to go through grief, right? You have to go. I
Yeah.
mean, we can, have this exterior of, like, fight on, but there is still grief
Yeah.
behind all of this. And so, um, what's your biggest coping skill when it comes to grief?
Okay. Well, there were stages. My first coping skill was to stay medicated. If I woke up at 3 in the morning, and I'm sorry, I got to plug in my computer. I'm gonna keep talking. If I woke up at 3 in the morning and I couldn't go back to sleep, I would pour a big old glass of wine and I'd drink it and I'd go right back to sleep. I was drinking around the clock. A little bit here, a little bit there, just to stay buzzed enough, but I could still function, just to dull the pain. I did that for a while because it was just too painful. But that's not the answer. Although I will tell you, a lot of people choose that. And sometimes that gets you through. It gets you through. The second thing I did is I got on a good antidepressant, a really good one, and I would highly recommend it for anyone. Third, find yourself somebody to talk to, and that will listen to you on repeat, because you're going to need to ruminate, and your family and friends are going to go, oh my God, are we going to talk about this again? And how many times? Because it's your brain's way of trying to figure it out. So find somebody that you can talk to. And if you've got to pay them, pay them. At one point, I was paying $1,800 a month in counseling. I was draining myself because I just had to get better. And then the third thing, or fourth, whatever I'm on, finally, the breakthrough is when you don't drink, you don't self-medicate, you don't continually ruminate, you just sit in the pain. I can't tell you how many times I would be in the kitchen and I'd be cooking. It's gonna make me cry. I just sit on the floor and scream and pull, like, why? Why? You know, it's painful, but you get through it and you come out stronger on the other side. People say you have to sit with it eventually. You can't do it at first. It's too painful. You're going to go through whatever stage you're going to go through, and don't go back and kick yourself in the ass for whatever you did to get through that pain. Not very many people ever experience this kind of pain. I mean, all 4 of my children could have died in a car accident and it wouldn't have even compared to what I've been through. It's the truth. We all know it's the truth on this call. It's the truth. So you get through it the best you can, and you build your strength and you build your muscle, just like going to the gym. And eventually you can sit with the pain and you can analyze it, and you can take a breath and you can let it go. But it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight.
Right, right. How do you hold space for reconnection and acceptance of where things are today?
I don't want reconnection right now.
Mm.
I wanted it. After my mom died, I left voice messages for my son and my daughters, both of my sons, and I wanted it. I tried. I said, this is me bearing my soul. I want a relationship, and they all went dark. I don't know what happened. I think part of it is that I got a small inheritance from my mom, and I didn't maybe spread it out the way they thought they should have it. I don't know, entitlement. Right now, I don't want a relationship with them at all. I want them to go get help. I want them to go get therapy, good therapy. And then when they've been doing that for a while, then I'd like to do it with them. I don't want to try to work on it with just myself. We need an objective third party, a mediator. Right now, they're too unhealthy to have a relationship with. Your children have to want help, and they have to want to have a relationship with you. The more you chase, it's just like they've been taught by the narcissist, chase, 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 chase. And they love that power and control. They love it. And it's very sick. You wouldn't think your children would be like, but they've learned that this is how to manipulate you and control you. It's very sick. And I look back at just the recent texts after my mom died, and I see that and I think, oh, it just disgusts me that my kids have chosen this path. But I can't make their choices for them. They have their own souls. See, our children have their own souls. And God, or higher power, or whatever you want to believe in, says, here are the choices. And if your kids keep making these choices, there's nothing you can do. You just have to continue to make your choices and be the person that you're meant to be. And if they ever decide at any point to get better, they need to do that on their own before they reconnect with you. Don't try to reconnect with children that are still dysfunctional. It's not going to go anywhere. I've learned that. That was another lesson I can share with you, and I've learned it recently. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. I kept going, they're the same kids. They haven't had life experiences. They haven't had any type of counseling. They're the same kids. So why do I keep doing this? So I've realized, done, not doing it anymore. You got to have a boundary, and they're not going to like your boundary, and they're going to make all kinds of excuses as to why you're bad for having the boundary. You're always going to be bad. You're always going to be bad. You're never going to have any positive attributes to you, because they've been taught everything about you is wrong. Your opinion, your boundaries, facts are not truthful, they're gonna take those and throw them under the rug. You can't win, so you might as well just go live your life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the truth. Yeah. Very much the truth.
It's the cold, hard truth, isn't it, Beth? It's a painful, hard truth. But when you get to that stage of acceptance, the Buddhists say the closest we ever get to happiness is acceptance. And I have learned that if I can just accept, this is over, this is done, this is the truth, this was dysfunctional, these are the choices my children are making, and there's nothing I can do about it, then I can go, okay, and then go this way, because I can't fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like the term of radical acceptance, right? Like you have to get to a point of radical acceptance. It is what it is, and you cannot change. You know, I mean, I can't change other people. I can't change other people's opinions. I can't have any type of influence over anyone else but myself. And even that, I mean, it's you have to kind of come to grips with that. And I think that's the hard part about it is before, you're raising kids and you're stuck in mom mode and you're doing this and you're going along your life, and then you realize that someone is playing the long shot, the long game, and you have no idea what like I'm just amazed by the conversation, Shawn, because from the women that we've talked to and many circles that I've been in, there seems to be a common pathology behind these abusers or narcissists or psychopaths or whatever you want to say. And it's just so hard. I mean, you don't even have words. I mean, I go from here to there to, talking about stuff, but it's just so sad in so many ways when you discover what has happened to you, and happened to your kids too in the midst of all of this. And so it goes back to, you have to radically accept that you've been through what most people can't even comprehend, and you're here and you're standing here and you have to try to go on your way. You have to try to build a life without these children, that you thought, you have to grieve, you have to, accept what is given to you, and try to go on your life. And I think that's the hardest part of it is it's like each person seems to be at a different stage in all of this too,
Yeah. And so part of what I've done on the side too, there's a long story behind this, but I have another nonprofit and we've done a lot of work with folks that are in addiction and street outreach and things like that. And I've had a feedback from different ones over the last 10, 11 years, well, if you give them this, they're just going to sell this. They're just going to, and someone, kind of said this, and I thought hard on this. I thought, you know what? It's just like in this situation, you give everything that you give with the right heart. What they do with that's on them. You can't hold back your love and acceptance and what you're going to do. You just have to give. And if they don't accept it, they don't do it, they don't do it. And if they come back around, they come back around. If they don't, they don't. But I think that one of the message is like, just give it with the best heart. You've done the best thing. Now it's on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly right. We raised our children the best we knew how under the circumstances that we were in. And we were good moms, and we're still good moms, because we wouldn't be talking about this if we weren't. And so, when I say shame on my children, shame on all adult children that choose to side with a parent that damn well is not the right parent for whatever reason, whether it's monetary, whether it's status, whether it's even fear. I don't care what it is. Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm glad that there aren't people out there, too many more people like that, because I know that if I had seen my father do to my mother what my ex-husband did to me, I can guarantee you that motherfucker would not be standing. I can guarantee you that. So shame on my kids. And the fact that I feel that way, they had a mama bear, because I would have done the same for them. And I think Beth, you would have done the same, and Danielle, you would have done the same, and every woman on this call. So it's their loss. It's their loss. And you're right. We gave from a place without expecting anything in return. Narcissistic men and women don't do that. There's always a contract. There's always a contract. And if you want to side with that type of person, that's completely up to you. But the hard part, yes, is saying, I no longer have a relationship with my children. That's difficult. But it's more difficult to sit there and continue to say, see me, hear me, believe me, have a relationship with me. Hello, hello. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that. You're not going to hear from me on Christmas. You're not going to hear from me on your birthday. You're not going to hear from me when you graduate. You've already pushed me out of your life so many times. I get the point. You don't want me in it. I get it. I'm not stupid. Okay. Well, I tell you what, if you ever want a true relationship, you can contact me. I'm done. And I think that's what most women need to get to. You have to realize you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. These kids are grown. I would say from the age of about 14 on, they know exactly what they're doing, much less when they get to 16, 18, 20, 24. I have women that have 32, 35-year-old kids, grown children. What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't even talk to them. Block them. Go away. These are adults. They know exactly what they're doing. You wouldn't put up with this behavior from a friend. You wouldn't put up with this behavior from anyone. Why do you need to put up with it just because you carried this child? The way I look at it is this. There are a lot of women out there that never had children. There's no one out there that didn't have a mother. You want to throw away your mom? Go ahead. It's a lot easier for me to walk away from you than it's going to be for you to live life without me. Period.
Yep.
And you made your choice.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Wow,
So
that's a
we
lot of
women
heavy
need to
stuff.
take our empowerment back. We
Yeah.
have the power. Stop giving it away. Stop. We're moms.
Yeah.
We're moms.
Yep.
We have the power. Our kids have stripped our power. Our significant others have stripped our powers, and dads have been stripped. Take it back. Take it back. Your role is mom. My role is mom. My role is still to discipline you. My role is still to teach you. And guess what? I'm going to teach you a big lesson now, because you don't do this. You don't do this. It's going to hurt you way more than it's going to hurt me.
It is. And then once they finally realize that, there's a lot that they've missed.
A lot. And when they get into their 40s and 50s and they live with all that grief, that all the years lost, and they have their own kids, and they see what they've done.
Yeah.
You know what I say to that? It's kind of like in The Godfather, and the third one, when he goes to the priest and he confesses, and the priest says, you're in a lot of pain, and rightfully so, for the injustices you've done. Yes, your suffering will be just. It will be just, and it will be deserved, child, because you need to learn.
Yep. Yep. You are right.
You know, as we wrap up this conversation, Shawn, is there any kind of advice that you would give to someone who is just entering this, who just discovers that they've been alienated or estranged from their child? I mean, what kind of advice can you send to people?
Breathe. Breathe. Take your arms and put it around you and say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And just be in the moment. Be in the moment. Feel safe. Know that it's going to be okay, and breathe. You're going to get through this. Find someone you can talk to that's been through it. And know you're not alone. There's no specific step except for going through it. And it's not easy, but find help. Find help. Good help. I went through a lot of bad counselors and bad coaches, and it's not easy, but you gotta know that you're going to be okay. It's the reality. This is true. Your children have been turned against you, and not just turned, they made a choice. I don't want to say turned anymore, because damn it, they made choices. I mean, my children knew he was on dating apps. They saw what he did to me. They saw. My youngest daughter came to me and said, Mommy, Daddy doesn't love you. Daddy doesn't love you. You know this, yet you still side with him? You just have to accept the fact that they can make their own choices. You are separate from them. You are your own. Your kids are not a part of your life once they become grown, as far as like your growth and your ability to be able to protect yourself and move forward and whatever. They're not going to be there for you. No one's going to be there for you but you. No one. So you just have to take the time to stop and say, what's best for Shawn, Beth, Danielle? What do I need to do for me? And forget everybody and everything else. And that's not easy, but you have to survive. And you're not going to survive if you keep trying to figure out how to manage these relationships, because these relationships are never going to be managed. They're unhealthy and they're unholy. The Bible says, Jesus said in the Bible, it is easier. No, he said, woe to the man who disrupts, just manipulates children. It would be easier for him to have a millstone, and I don't know if you know what a millstone is, hung around his neck and thrown into the ocean. Men and women who do this to their children, oh, I wouldn't want to be you on Judgment Day. And kids, the same. God's watching you. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's true. These are my kids. God's watching your decisions, not just with your mom, but in everything that you do. I hope my sons are loyal to their wives and never put their hands on their wives. And I hope my daughters don't manipulate their husbands the way my ex-husband did me. You have to learn. We all have to learn, and we all have choices, and our children are no different, and we can't make those choices for them.
Gosh,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Shawn. I mean, my head is just like, I have a million questions I wish I could ask you, and I wish we had more time, and maybe we'll have you come back if you'd like to.
But these are so important. I mean, everything
I know
that you
these
said is
conversations
so,
that we have.
it's just so important. Everything that you said is so important. And
Yeah.
that's the things that need to be said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's
Thank you.
things
I'm
that,
glad
you
to
know,
be here.
we just need to be bold enough to say it.
We just have
Right.
to say it. We have to. It's time. Why aren't we saying it's time we stand up and just speak the truth? We're thinking it.
And it's
Let's say it.
destroying families.
It's
And it's
destroying
destroying
families.
generations.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's
So,
time. These
yeah.
voices, women, ladies, I'm so glad I was here today. And thank you for giving me a platform to speak. That's really important too, because, I just have my own little platform, and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok don't like to push out too much of my content because it's not stupid. I'm not 10, and, it actually has some kind of value, and we don't want to do that. So I really appreciate, having these platforms. Thank you.
And we will make
Absolutely.
sure that your contact information is on the podcast when we push it out, any social media that we do. We'll make sure people can find you, because you are
Right.
absolutely a true gem, and just so you can benefit so many people. Thank you so much. We
And I'm
really
so
appreciate
sorry.
Thank
I'm
you.
so
Thank you.
sorry, Shawn, too, for all the pain that you've been through. And one thing that I'm finding as we're doing these podcasts is people are turning their pain into purpose,
it.
and they're not staying in the shadows anymore. They're exposing these hidden truths or these situations to light.
Yeah.
And I think it's been the most powerful thing to see when a woman gets her power and she knows and she doesn't doubt herself and she stands in it and she says, I don't care who's around me, who's, this is my truth and this is what's happened to me. And you are I can tell it from, just via Zoom, how powerful that you are. And I am so sorry for the pain that you've been through, and continue to keep spreading your message through TikTok. And we will, like Beth said, we'll put your information out there on our Facebook page, and our website is being updated. So we've got some really good content that's going to be
Yeah, we have
rolling
some
out.
really good things coming. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, listen, shoot me everything too, because I'll post it all over mine too, and with links to get back to you. So yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so much. And I would love to come back again.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Well, that's it for today. This has been amazing. Thank you for being here. We are Stronger Roots, and we are here to bring a voice to the voiceless and empower you to take back your life. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.